Big up, everybody. It's your boy, and I'm late. I'm late as hell, guys. I apologize. Big up to each and every one of you. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. There are lots of news coming in, interesting reports, and of course, there's the headline, and then there's the thumbnail. I tried to figure out a way to do it both ways. I couldn't fit it all, so I decided to show you Mbwemo and let you read about Gyokeres. I hope you're not mad. But let's get into some of the updates. Glad to have you here. Don't forget to smash the likes. Your boy is live. Let's get into the updates. So let's start with Mila Slavic, the goalkeeper. Is going to be an interesting situation. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with that goalkeeping situation. James Bond, we'll talk about that later on. Remind me, I'll star your comment. Stick around, we'll talk about that. It's going to be interesting. But about Millie, Villa, it's going to be interesting to see if United actually makes a bid. He's reported to be around 25 million euros. There's very much heavy interest from Man United. There's a huge summer in store. We were broke, but we're being creative with the little that we have. The deal for Mbwemo is in £55 million, £45 million up front with 10 million in add-ons. Easy five and a difficult five based on performances. It's going to be interesting to talk about what happens with Mbwemo, how that works out. 55 in add-ons. They're going to pay a lump sum of somewhere around 20 to 22 million up front. The balance is going to be paid over 3 seasons. His contract probably being in 5 years, around 180 to 200K per week is what we're looking at. We know the reports of 250. We're not sure it's going to be that much, but it's going to be interesting. In other news, Anthony, lots of interest coming in for Anthony. Aston Villa also jumping in the race for Anthony. And there have been a claim of a report that Leverkusen is in for him as well. They're willing to pay 45 million euros for the player upwards. And there's other clubs interested as well as Juventus and Napoli as well. Even Inter Milan are set to make a bid in the coming days for the player. But there's also been a dark report that there's a possibility that he might be reintegrated into the team under Ruben Amorim, depending on certain situations. Let's see how it goes. That's an update that for you guys that's going to be a shocker. Let's keep it moving. There's lots more updates to talk about. As we get into this, I'm going to be talking about the interesting Marcus Rashford, where he could end up. Of course, he's willing. He's definitely willing to take an amazing and a drastic pay cut to make his move to Barcelona happen in the summer. And there's been sort of a gentleman's agreement between the club and the player that they will come in for him. And of course, if they come in with the valuation, which is being reported somewhere in the region of £45 million for the player in total package, it's going to be interesting, guys. Of course, you know your boy Marken. We will have the news here ready for you. I'm sorry, I was setting up really late, guys. I have to apologize. My camera is a bit crazy right now. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that story and how it develops. Nico Paz, keep your eye on him. Of course, you know what's happening with Franco Matsuatano at this current moment. Right now, Real Madrid has won the battle and he will be heading there. So, no more Franco for Man United. But there's other interesting talents up in store. And of course, Man United are aiming to make it possible. And they're definitely putting their best foot forward in this transfer window. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because, you know, there have been many reports on Victor Gyokeres, one player who has seemingly rejected Arsenal, rejected Liverpool, rejected PSG, rejected Barcelona because he's waiting for Man United. Sounds like another player I know, Brian Mbwemo. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting. And Rajat is talking about Kylian Mbappe's penalty. Broski, Broski, what's going on? What's going on with you? What's going on with you? Anyways, in some other interesting news, Rasmus Hojlund could be departing Manchester United as Inter are also interested in making a bid for the player. There's some rumors that Real Madrid will put in a loan option for the player as well as they make some drastic moves in this market. And there's other interest coming in from Napoli as well as Juventus and Atalanta for Rasmus Hojlund. Let's see what happens. There's also some interest coming in from Germany as well. We will talk about that. Trincao, Gyokeres, and Rio, everybody will cry. Let's see what happens. Let's see. I don't know what it's like with Trincao. Of course, he's an option. He's available for somewhere in the region of 45 to 50 million euros. That's in effect somewhere between 38 million pounds and 40 million pounds. It's an interesting player. I would love to get him here, but it's going to be really crowded in that midfield when you see all these signings come in. Where is the youth gonna go? It's going to be very interesting. We are interested in, yes, the Brazilian. Well, he's Colombian. He plays in Brazil. You know, his name escapes me in some moments. But yes, Rio, the player we talked about that plays for Palmeiras, they were reportedly asking somewhere in the region of 90 million euros for last summer when we were showing interest in the player. He's a defensive midfielder. I believe he's 23 years of age or 24 years old. Very interesting, rugged player. I would say very physical, got a great engine on him, a definite threat with a shot, and he will be good. I'm a fan. Of course, I will always be supportive of the South Americans that are coming into the team because your boy is from that region of the town. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Lots of interesting deals. Man United are being very, very aggressive in this transfer window. And a key note to everyone, Jason Wilcox, if you don't know, he has been promoted to Director of Football at Manchester United. He is now the leading director of football at the club. And of course, he's taking the playbook out of Sir Alex's hands by going for Premier League proven. We can see this, and I can give you more reports. I'm going to give you a report on Diego Leone. If you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it here now. Diego Leone will be arriving in the next few days to Manchester United. There are reports that there's a lot of interest in having him train with the first team, but represent the under 18 and under 21 teams respectively until he finds his adaptation into the league and into the system as well as life in England. Similarly to what has been done with Sekou Kone, of course, I think he's going to be paired up as well in training with Sekou Kone, an interesting talent who is about to become a starter for the senior national team in Mali. He has impressed for the under 21s in a tournament recently and is being selected for the senior team. Let's see if he gets his debut. And of course, we will be keeping you updated on the stellar performances of the players in the academy. Next up is a young academy player from called Ethan Williams. Interest coming in from League One teams. Let's see what happens with that. Of course, we are in the PSR, in the green in PSR. It's not that difficult, but we can still improve. And of course, there might be loans to be had with the young players, of course, and might be some outgoings. Of course, we lost the likes of Victor Lindelof and we lost, Johnny Evans to retirement. So we're going to have to replace a defender. Man United have been looking at Omar Solet from Udinese, 23 years old. Going to cost the club somewhere in the region of 25 million euros. It's going to be interesting. I'm telling you guys, keep an eye out. This summer is definitely going to be an interesting one. There's going to be some moves. There's going to be some shakes. There's going to be some incomings. What are your thoughts in the comments, guys? Big up to each and every one coming in here. Big up to the great one, says Remontada in the building. Big up to Rajat, says Mbappe scores his penalty. Big up to James Bond. Bro, if we have to talk about the Vybz Kartel thing, all I have to say to you is that it's a scamming situation. You know what I mean? Like, I know people who promote. I've been around promoters. I've been around a lot of events. I've done events all my life. And what I can tell you is that, there are deals with artists where they get paid and when they show up at the venue on site to perform on that day, they get their balance, their final payment. And of course, they're already there. So they honor their contracts and they perform. But this guy never got on the plane. He missed several fights. Yeah, he was just trying to scam people out of their money. Of course, he's going to have to probably return most of that money to the promoter as there's legal action to be taken. Nothing can stop that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, king of the dance hall. So, guys, what are your thoughts? It's going to be interesting, says Irfan. Big up to you, my bro. It's going to be interesting. Leo Shaw, Malasia, Dorgu, Heaven, Licha on the left. Well, there are some reports coming in that it's a possibility that Malasia will be a permanent player in the Dutch club at PSV. And Luke Shaw, there's heavy interest from Napoli. He might be on his way out of the club. I'll keep you updated on that one. So it's going to be Euro, Dorgu, Heaven, and Fredrickson. You know what I mean? Rajat, I don't know about that one. Is he now? We don't know about that for sure, but definitely he does his thing. He does his thing. Pretty mad that he didn't show up to perform though. That's a little bit difficult to accept for me, guys. You know what I mean? Let's not derail from football. Yeah, attempt to get Cucurella from Chelsea. Interesting player. Would definitely like to have him. I think if he comes in, it will definitely strengthen the right hand side. Let's see how that goes. I don't know if Manchester United are thinking about that. I think it's a reasonable shout from you, Rajat. Big up to you for that. I wouldn't have thought of that. But that's a reasonable shout. I think it would be interesting if a deal like that could be done. Maybe something would happen. Maybe. Wow, Spain is doing a madness. Spain is doing a definite madness. What is that one, guys? Wow. I can't believe Spain is doing all of that damage right now, guys. Swear to you. Swear to you guys, I can't believe Spain is doing all that damage. That is wild. That is certainly wild. It's going to be interesting, guys. I want to know what are your thoughts on the situation with Victor Gyokeres. There's a possible deal for 60 million. It will be 70 million in total with bonus add-ons that will make Sporting really happy, as well as secure the transfer for the player. Of course, it's going to they're doing 70 because they're going to negotiate an extended payment plan just like they did for Matthias Cunha. There are some rumors, you know what I mean, that Victor Gyokeres will be receiving a huge increase in his salary. But like I said, I don't have confirmed reports, so I can't say a figure because I haven't heard one. But what I can tell you is that what the recent reports have said that Victor Gyokeres has always been waiting for Manchester United. How does Man United make these things happen? The pull is amazing. Guys, what are your thoughts? Victor Gyokeres, the bid for Mbwemo is in. Can you guys help me? Tell me what you think. I want to read your comments. I want to see what's on your mind, how you guys are feeling. You know, besides the fact that Magnan is shocking. You know what I'm saying? In my honest opinion, he was never too much better than Onana. You know what I mean? And I didn't really rate Onana to begin with. It's not surprising that, yeah, it's not surprising that we are trying to get rid of this guy. Hopefully we do. If it does happen, yeah, I'm here for that because he has been more shocking than Magnon. Magnon is a player that is a bit better as a shot stopper, but then he has some moments in games that, yeah, I guess he's having a time in this French game. Rio and Bruno would burn the EPL. Yeah, Rio, Bruno, and Cunha with Mbwemo or Turkey. That is some serious sauce, guys. I don't know about you guys. I don't think Onana needs 10 games. I think he needs to be gone this summer, but I could be wrong. Maybe you might be right, Irfan. Let's see how it goes. It's going to be interesting, but I definitely am looking forward to some of the changes. I'm really hoping that we get Victor Gyokeres because that is going to be an improvement. It's going to help the young strikers at the club like Cheeto. Even if Hoyland wants to stay, it will help him as well. Or if we promote another youngster, maybe we see the likes of Ethan Wheatley getting a promotion. We have those two guys behind a Victor Gyokeres coming in for 10, 15 minutes playing in the cup, in the Carabao Cup. Hey, that could be something interesting. You have a guy, a benchmark to strive to surpass, and I think that's the direction the club should be heading into. It's going to be very interesting to see if we can make it happen. Let's see how it goes. We should be hearing more news on Mbwemo. I think, honestly, the reports that Brentford are holding out for 60 is true. But with the fact that the player has said he wants the Manchester United move, I think Brentford have no choice but to accept this deal that favors them. £55 million. I think it's going to be easy if they were to say they want a firm 60. I think it would be even more interesting if we don't hear here we go tomorrow. I think we could wake up to here we go tomorrow because I think with the fact that the player wants to leave, they're getting pretty much what they're asking for, guaranteed £15 million plus five in bonus add-ons. The player has been quality for over 3 seasons. I'm pretty sure he will achieve those bonuses. And we can all move our separate ways really quickly. And this can happen really fast, guys, because Man United, I have to say, they have been moving aggressively in this window. Big up to Rick Harper. Hope you're well, my brother. Big up to you. Good to see you, bro. Good to see everyone in the chat. Big up to Rick Wan coming in. The whole defense is shocking in France. Well, I can't tell you that, I'm not happy to hear that. I'm not a fan of the French national team any day. I always hope they lose, to be very honest. Sorry, guys, don't be mad at me. I'm a Man United fan. I support Trinidad and Tobago, and I watch Italy and sometimes Germany. But yeah, definitely don't support the French team. I apologize. I put my hands up. But Rick, I don't know if you've heard the stream from the beginning. Lots of interesting things happening, lots of interesting news, talking about different players. There's also Nico Paz, that young starlet coming from Como. Serious interest from Man United. Reports are he wants guaranteed game time if Real Madrid are to trigger the 8 million euro release clause. Man United are willing to spend upwards of £15 million to secure the player. It will be very interesting. What is up with everyone? I got my buddy in the background. He's definitely here. Let's hear what the man them has to say. My brethren Bali Tech is coming in the building, guys. Let's see. Let's change up the settings slightly as I bring him to the stage. Uh, Gotta do this another way. Cool. Bali, broski.
What's up, bro? Can
Oh,
you
you
hear me?
can. Yeah, broski.
Okay, yeah. Big up to everyone in the chat. Have no fear. Bally Tech is here. We in the building. Obviously, we're gonna discuss all things Manchester United. So hopefully, it'll be a good show.
Well, I pretty much got through the intro already. You, of course, you have your views on all the players that we are talking about and the different possibilities that might be happening to them. Let's hear what you're thinking. As you know, we'll also bring up some information from the chat in between.
I literally just tuned in now, so I missed like your whole opening segment. Um,
Right
so I
now,
don't. Yeah.
we could start with the part how you feel about Mbwemo, and then we could segue into Gyokeres. How you feel about that, and about Man United having all this pull right now.
Obviously, I've spoken about Mbwemo in the past. I just feel like he has a good decision making. The previous custodians of the role they didn't show this good decision making in games, and it had a hindrance, severe hindrance on the team, on our performances, on the way we look and stuff like that. And now we're getting people that are very, very competent, make the correct decisions at the correct times. So I think we'll see a sharp uptick in goals at Old Trafford and away from home, because now we just have people that are able to just be competent in their roles. We had people that were playing with training wheels and needed a lot of help from the managers and their teammates and things of that nature. But now we just have guys that just know what they're doing, and I'm so here for it.
That's the best thing, to be honest. You know what I mean? And Victor Gyokeres, all the reports right now are suggesting that he has always been waiting to honor the agreement he had with Ruben Amorim, the gentleman's agreement to move to Manchester United. There are reports that United have secured personal terms with the player. They have yet to, find that leak that gives us the insight onto the actual, range of his deal that he accepted. But we're hoping that, the deal will happen, or it possibly can happen the moment we make a sale.
Um, I think we can, as long as we get the guy, then I have no issue. I think he's a very, very good striker. Um, he's scored a ton of goals. He definitely knows how to find where the back of the net is. And I do believe that Premier League games is going to be harder than what he's been experiencing at Portugal. But I would say that he showed a lot of competence in the Championship, and he showed a lot of competence in the Champions League. And might I also add, he scored a phenomenal hat trick against Manchester City in the Champions League. And in my humble opinion, he actually should have had 4 or 5 that day as well. So he can put our rivals to. He's got the capabilities of putting our rivals to the sword. He can finish off both feet. He can run with the ball. He can carry the ball. He can jink in and out of players, especially when we're being attacked. You fire the ball over to him, and he will take on defenders one on one, and he will beat them with his pace and his strength. We don't really have that in the team from a centre forward. Yes, we have a centre forward that's very fast. However, if you have to apply strength to the situation, I think that's where he becomes unstuck, because there's too many defenders in the league that are stronger than him and just as quick as him. But Gyokeres is extremely strong, extremely quick, and is able to motor past people that are using their body weight to put him off. He just seems to ride these challenges like a pro. So we're definitely getting a much more experienced striker who can finish with both feet, can take the ball from long passes on the chest, or first time controls, can link the play, maybe not to a world class level, but can link the play far better than what we've already got in terms of our main number 9. Um, and yeah, he's just a threat anywhere around the box. So, well, somebody who's also got 12 assists as a striker, which I think is pretty good. Do you
You
know?
know what
So
I think? I
yeah.
think somebody rivals here and they're crying already, cause and then in the chat crying, hype,
Um,
15
yeah,
pen goals, ain't no one worried. That's more goals than some of his players score all season, bro.
yeah, but the thing is, you're highlighting the 15 pen goals, right? But But even if you take away the 15 pen goals, he's still got more goals than any of your strikers, even
Man
without
have
the 15
45
pen goals.
after they take a man still have about 50 after they take away that 15. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what's mad? Yeah, his GA is phenomenal. 12 assists. Yeah,
And 48 goals or 51 goals.
you can never tell me that somebody with 60 plus GA is just like, oh yeah, he's just scoring penalties, bro.
Bro,
He's doing
Haaland
a
they
whole
never had 60 plus GA before he come to the Premier League. And right
yeah.
Haaland.
He's doing a whole lot more than just scoring penalties. And while I wouldn't be surprised if he comes to the Premier League and the 50 odd goals that he scored initially drops. One, because he's got less competitions to play in, right? So we're not going to have the Champions League. We're not going to have any Europe. So straight away there, that's a big reduction in games, right? And then it just in terms of the cup competitions, it depends on how far or how deep we get into these cup competitions. But other than that, yeah, I won't be surprised if because we're playing one game a week, yeah, a fresh Gyokeres going into those games week in, week out, it's gonna be a dangerous man.
Brother,
I, I'm just gonna be real with you. Did the
if we
somebody with his
sign
energy and his
Gyokeres,
work rate? Yeah.
and then I'm saying this to you, I'm taking bets. I'm betting from the moment we sign him to the GA, £100. Talk to me and then. I know you're in the chat. Talk to me. Just let me know once we sign him, you're taking him.
Well, he's scoring more goals than the lap. I tell you that for free.
Bro, he's scoring more goals than Delap and Palmer combined next season in GA. Bro, and if we get this guy by some stroke of luck, it's done.
The thing is, yeah, it's wild, yeah, because I
In
think
the league,
Joker has been a hot topic for a while, right? And then when we're like, it looks like it's Man United, yeah.
it
Then
dies.
then that's when he is no longer a good player. That's when everyone wants to forget how good he is, which is fine. I'm happy for yous to do that because yous lot have to remember that yous lot are telling us that he's not good enough day one, which is fine. We're gonna hold that, but when the season starts and he starts terrorizing people, then you're gonna point to what he did before and say that you always knew. That's when we have to call bullshit. Yeah. So just remember that he's not good now. Yeah. Remember that all the players that we're signing are not good players now, yeah? Also, remember that you also said, a lot of our rivals said that we can't attract players now because we're not in Champions League, we're in 15th, and all of these things. Just remember, a whole load of you brothers said this, yeah? Now you're seeing Manchester United signing Cunha, signing Mbwemo, signing a Gyokeres, yeah. Our front three is
It's
nothing to
going,
be trifled with. It's nothing to be
bro.
trifled with,
You
yeah.
know, I will go so far as to cut you and say, if you're slotting in certain circumstances, men like Ahmad, if Ganacho remain, other certain men could be Menu in certain situations and aspects and moments in games. It could be long for other teams, because when the pressure come off for these young guys, like all the way come off for these guys when these brothers start to do the job. And these young guys feeling relaxed to just do whatever. United might free score. United might score goals just because. We might double our score line and stuff because, bro, a lot of these players play with the pressure on their shoulders because it have no one to lead by example. Just Bruno. Bruno alone to take all the load for attack. Bruno responsible for everybody in attack. 'Cause everybody in attack is young men,
You know what's
developing
funny?
players, everyone.
You just hit the nail on the head there, right? I mentioned Mbwemo, Gyokeres, and Cunha, and you just mentioned Bruno Fernandes.
Emma,
You know what's funny? Yeah, a lot of you, man, a lot of you rivals are going to be beaten in the tunnel. That's where we're going to beat you first, in the tunnel. You know when your players turn to the left or turn to the right, and then they see 4 or 5 bad men, 4 or 5 gunslingers in the team. They're
men
gonna
who
be
will
like,
bag you up.
nah, this first half is gonna be long. It's
Bro.
going to be long.
And the bench is going to be looking strong. Big up to Ray Carl for the £2 super chat. Big up to you, my broski. Yo, that's a valid point Ray Carl just brought up there. We buy those 3 guys, and our bench immediately becomes twice stronger than it was before.
Yeah, yeah, because you have to understand, yeah,
After the
when
window
the
elite.
manager when
Go
the
ahead.
manager first came in, he actually weakened the starting lineup because obviously he wasn't getting what he wanted out of Rashford and Anthony and some other players in and around the team. Certain decisions were already taken out of his hands in regards to Sancho, and obviously the club should have brought back Greenwood, but they didn't. So we were still suffering from the previous regime's decisions. But having said that, fast forward to today, we finished 15th. Apparently, Man United's pulling power has disappeared. No, why would anybody want to go there? Newcastle's got Champions League and all of this type of nonsense you keep hearing from our rivals that no one would ever play for us. And then before you know it, we get into a 3-4 way battle for the likes of Cunha and Mbwemo. And these men are saying they only want to play for Man United. it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Did
15th
I say
place,
more?
bro. 15th place. You know when they try and tell you that your club ain't got pulling power, but deep down, you know your club will never not have pulling power. Never ever.
I don't think a lot of man them in the Prem know, because I feel like it's safe to say we technically are the only club. I mean, Chelsea has some pull, but Man United is what you define as pull in England. Because, broski, once you hear our name next to yours, you're already intimidated. You're already worried. Man United fans don't never really worry, We just be upset. Because I just keep telling man them, people don't believe me, yeah? But I tell man them, our scouting is the best in the nation. The best. It's done. Yeah? It's the best it have in England. All the top players get offered to Man United first. And then other clubs just get a chance if Man United say no. So plenty of the times is bad decisions that allow quality players to end up at small clubs like you guys. You know what I mean? It's no disrespect. It just we are it because after Real Madrid, we are the second most valuable club on the planet. So in England, we are the Billy Big Bollocks. And maybe Liverpool won the season. The Prem as a whole was underwhelming. It was not as competitive as it was last season. Yeah. So, like Sadiq Rahman is saying, let's get this deal done. Let's celebrate tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Let's celebrate a deal done. Cunha and Mbwemo. And then Saturday, let's drop some bombers and let's really break out some champagne because we're celebrating Gyokeres deal done or advanced. Because, guys, if we could sign that trio, yeah, before the next week is finished, I am telling you, no matter that Liverpool sign Wirtz and they sign Frimpong, everybody's going to be talking about what? Man United is going to do next season.
I've been given some insight, right, in terms of the midfield situation and the type of, because I feel like the fan base has their perspective of what they would like in that sort of pivot role. But from what I was told is that the club is looking for a physical, strong, quick, sort of someone who can play the ball and carry the ball in that role. So I'm not sure if that's the priority now, because obviously you can see that we're going for attackers now to address the attack. But when we do go back in for that role, we're looking at that sort of profile. Do you think we need that sort of profile in the team? Or do you think we should be looking for somebody in a different type of mode?
Well, to be fair, like I think we need for a variety. We need an arsenal. We need to have some, like when you have different sets of keys to get into your house. Like you have three different locks in your door, and the keys all look similar, but they're slightly cut different. You know, like
Mm,
I feel we need a situation like that at Man United again, because back in the days under Fergie, we used to have a situation like we was like turnkey. Fergie was a turnkey. I my bad. A warden. The guy that controlled all the keys to all the gates. And he had keys, three for every position in my opinion. And for me, I might not rate Cunha. I might think he's a very good player, but I might not be so excited about him. But I could see where he will improve us. I might rate Chilkey higher because for me, he's the typical number 10, very creative, will create for the team and can also score goals. Great vision, great passing ability, can drive with the ball. But yeah, he might not be as physical as Mbwemo or Cunha. So that might be the risk involved with buying the player. He might not be as energetic, you know. So he might be more of a luxury player, possibly. But if he was in the club, if he was in the club, imagine having the option of possible four people to choose from for the number 10 role, or let me say five if Anthony was to come back by whatever miracle, and you have you're choosing from Anthony, your Cunha, you have Mbwemo, you have Chilkey, let me say you have Trincao as well, and then you have Rio, you have Bruno for the eights. It going to get really sticky. It will get really sticky at Man United, broski.
yeah, but I would assume that that sort of squad will be playing Champions League football.
Well, I
If it,
mean, because here's Brett away from Champions League. I mean, is that one goal? And to be fair, eating grapes, bro. To be fair, but to be honest, the Champions League situation, we was here's Brett away is our own goal that fall into the net. It wasn't scored. It fell into the net off our man chest. But we move. And even if we're not in Champions League, who's to say we can't win all the domestic cups next season? Walk away with a Carabao and a FA Cup and maybe a top four placement if we're lucky and we really competitive in the league at a high level. You know what I mean? I think that would be an amazing season.
the thing is, if we're able to keep that team fit for the majority of the season, even if we fucked off a cup competition, not to say that that's what we're going to do, but if we ended up going out the cups early and we really did just focus on the one game a week and whatnot, and the injuries wasn't bad, then I would imagine we would finish quite high in the table. I'm just not sure whether it would be like within the top three or within the top six. But I reserve my judgment until I see the rest of the window. I need to see what we end up with, because then that's gonna give me a certain amount of confidence or it's going to reduce my confidence depending how it goes, because I still think ultimately that Onana is a liability. I think at times Maguire can be a liability with his lack of pace. He has the bozo moments in him. I think obviously we're lacking a central centre back, in my humble opinion. Somebody who's comfortable to just step into midfield and play like a midfielder, but he's an actual centre back. I think we lack that. Someone with pace as a central centre back as well. I think we're definitely lacking that. Then obviously a combative midfielder who can also progress the ball with good passes. Someone who loves a forward pass from the midfield. Someone who knows how to look after the ball also from those type of areas. And then in the forward areas, the club are addressing what they need to address, and then maybe competent wing backs, maybe a specialist, maybe on the left hand side to play over Dorgu, maybe a specialist. Then I think you're now starting to look at a more refined team, a team where you know it's going to be a long night, whoever ends up starting in the starting lineup. And yeah, I just hope that now it's the Jason Wilcox era. He's the director of football, is a DOF, I believe. And obviously, this is his team now. It's meant to have his hands on it. It's meant to have his DNA. He's now rebuilding our attack. And hopefully he can build a team that is an actual dangerous Premier League team. And hopefully we haven't got to sack him next season or the season after for some calamitous signings.
What I will say to that is, one, big up to Ray Carl for the £5 super chat, my bro. And bro says, if lands, other two are big three, got physical CM, CD, a CDM, and a goalie. I see a 60 plus point team in the making. Big up to Ray Cal for that comment. I kind of agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I think definitely if Man United brings in Cunha and Mbwemo, Victor Gyokeres, just that front three alone dynamically increases our goal possibility and scoring ratio next season. And with one game a week, I would say, guys, maybe we were all hoodwinked by these players this season. Because I'm gonna say that, guys, I'm not trying to make any excuses to keep any players. I just want to put out that, Ray, sorry, I just want to remove your comment so people could see my face good. I don't know if they're seeing us properly on the screen. Comment so big. Big up though, bro. But at the same time, yo, Elite, I dropped the link for you in the chat if you're coming in. We have 10 minutes left. So I hope you would get in. If you want to come in and have your say, the lines are open. I dropped the link in the chat. You can come in, have your say. Just keep it respectful. You know how we do. But like as I was saying, it's an interesting situation because remember, a lot of, like I said before, the front three we had ahead of Bruno and players around him was generally developing players all season. All season. And they were playing 2 games a week within 32 hours every single time. We are one of 3 teams in Europe that played under the threshold of 48 hours, and those teams only are Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Manchester United. There's no other team that did that. Big up to Ray coming in. And it's for me, guys. When I say this, right, I just wanted to let everybody know that yes, we didn't perform well. Yes, some of these players might not be good enough this season, last season. Yes, some of these players still need development. Maybe they shouldn't be doing it as starters. But if we solve the problem of them not being starters, it might be a situation where these players might improve at a drastic rate coming off the bench for minor minutes. with leaders who showing them a direction or a benchmark of where they need to get to. And this is just my one of my views on this team going forward. Now that we can understand we have one game a week and we have some senior players coming into the team to add to a lot of the big up the Bali.
Yo,
Yeah, man. As I said, I think I said before, I think you will see a different style of football from Amrin because I think the signings that he's making a statement that he wants to go on the attack. I think he was playing survival football last. As I said, yeah, I think some of the players didn't play very well, but I do believe, yeah, he was hoodwinking us, man, because I was looking at the football and thinking, this ain't Amrin's football. But the signings I'm hearing in the summer now, the likes of Mbwemo, we've landed a Cunha, so I'm all right with that. These are attacking signings, and these are telling me that this guy is going to play a different style of football. Because I saw it against Aston Villa, where we were actually cutting up Aston Villa, and I'm thinking, if we got man that actually score, it's gonna get very nasty. And I'm thinking, what I see, the signings, and if I see this football in the preseason and I see this football at the start of the season, yes, I know that Amin has changed and he's looking to now cut teams up.
yo.
Big up to
Uh,
Elite Baller in the building as well. Welcome, bro. Long time no see. Hope you're well.
Can
big
you
up,
hear me?
yeah, man. Big up yourself, Elite.
How's it going, everyone? You good?
Chilling, bro.
Chilling,
Yeah.
man. Better, man. Kind of thinking that.
Listen, listen. If we change our front three to what is predicted to be, that is light years better than what we had. Yeah. So the fact that we don't have Champions League, no Europe, we got to be aiming for top four and winning some kind of cup. We got to be.
I would agree with that statement as a fan. Realistically, I would hope that is the aim. I don't, and I can't say realistically we definitely going to be challenging for top four this season. I think top six, top seven teams not far out of the question. Where we land in that top seven, until I see the end of the transfer window, I can't really comment on that. But definitely, with one game a week, I definitely think that United performances will be light years better than
Yeah.
it was last season because mainly because one, a team that had so many developing players starting week in, week out. In attack, three of them week in, week out. And they didn't really set to play the style and the formation and these things and Amarim system from the beginning. I think it was more like we was just kind of making up getting by through the season this season. And I think now that Amarim has had a full season to experiment with the players have time to learn. They will learn a lot more over the next couple of weeks. And of course, playing one game a week, they have more time to rest, which I think will drastically improve the performances of many players in the squad as well.
Do you think we change the keeper to Martinez?
I would hope that to God and pray on my knees that we never sign that keeper. He is too much shit.
He's a calamity, isn't he? And I don't want any calamities at the back, man. I want a keeper that I can trust. And even though he's better than Onana, he's still a calamity Joe. And we need to get far away from calamity Joes because as much as we're thinking about scoring goals, we can't do what we did 2 years ago, score 4 goals in Germany, and the keeper's been a calamity, and we're losing 4-3, and you're thinking, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, bro.
Yo, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's great that we, even though the season was the season, it's like now we've got a lot of reason to be positive. Obviously, I'm definitely going to be going Old Trafford a good few times next season, especially with the projected team. I definitely want to see fast paced passing, fast paced attacking, fast paced goals, relentless pressure on opposition. And one thing I was thinking about the other day is, okay, if we do start manhandling teams, what's going to be the state of play in terms of dealing with the low block? But then I actually started to realize that we've actually got 3 or 4 players that can actually strike from outside the box.
Oh
So
yes.
I think in that sense, yeah, we can actually deal with the low blocks quite reasonably. And if worse comes to worse, we could just get Slabhead up front and we could put balls in and hopefully him or Euro or someone can get their head onto the ball and put it in the back of the net. But other than that, I think we're looking appearing to be in a pretty healthy state. So I think I'm more eager to fast forward to what the team's gonna be like after next season, if that's what we
Ooh.
got. That's what I wanna. I kind of want to fast forward to there because it's like, okay, cool. So this is our new front three or whatever. So then the next progression should either be to get, I don't know, wing backs, maybe to most definitely have a better goalkeeper, maybe look at the defense. I don't know. But, I think that type of team now, I want to be challenging for the title after that. Like not this season, but the following season. If any improvements to that sort of team, I want to start challenging for the title. I don't know if that is like
Well, to
going
be honest,
to
with you,
yeah.
Bally, I mean, look, mate, we if we get 75 points, because that's what we need to get for me to think, oh yeah, challenging in the next 2 years, because 75 points has been the highest it's in the last 3 years, isn't it? So if this team gets anywhere near that this season, and we get those, yeah, I'm with you. I'm thinking, well, you could add another 20 points to that total what you get today, because this team, I believe, will add 20 points because we got goal scorers now. So we finished with 42. So I think we're going to add 20. So that's going to put us up to 60. Now, if these boys are gelling and they add 30 points, that's 70 points. And that's putting you into uh, automatic Champions League. And you're thinking, yeah, I might be challenging for the league if we add a couple more players because we're looking, the ball is moving a little bit different. They're not looking to add silly man anymore. He's looking to add men that can get the job done. So, yeah, I'm with you with that one.
Mark,
Joe.
how good will 1.5 million for Aiden Heaven end up being in the future? Do you reckon?
You remember when we signed Ronaldo? No, and when I say this, don't attack me thinking he gonna be the GOAT or anything like that.
Mm,
But when we signed Ronaldo, nobody know who he was. Nobody know
mm,
what he was going to bring. Of course, had other clubs interested, other clubs spoke to him, but the world didn't know.
mm,
Yeah, and I think even Eden Heaven will replace Maguire. I
mm,
think he go end up being our main centre back at some point. If we don't buy a person of the likes of like a Diamade, or maybe I've been hearing some rumors about Gonzalo Ramos. It's not going away,
mm,
and it's one of those two guys might be coming. But I think until that time, I think Eden Haven might become that centre back. He's shown the physicality, he has the confidence, he makes the challenges, he has some pace. He
mm,
can, he's good at defending as well. He makes good decisions. He does get forward well. I think he is one of those players that might have learned the most from Harry Maguire while being in training with him
mm.
because he's starting to show up and do things like Harry Maguire, but the best things that Harry does. not the bad thing, not the mistakes that he makes. So I would look forward to seeing what he develops into. Of course, I'm glossing over him, but I be crushing it on Dorgu. I just think if we compare both players in terms of their level and their age, they might be at two different starting points at this point in time. And maybe I need to be a little patient with Dorgu. And I'm saying this because, I need to be, I'm trying to be more balanced with the team. Whether I dislike a player or not, I still think that as long as they're under a certain age, maybe development is the answer for them. And if he's not starting week in, week out, I think with one game a week, we might see a much better Dorgu next season. I especially think from January. But so far, yeah, I think a lot of the young players will benefit from this one game a week, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say that I really like that take that you gave about Aiden Heaven, because I didn't actually think of him as a nailed on central centre back. I just looked at him as somebody who's going to play left centre back, somebody who can cover the channels, somebody who can bring the ball forward, somebody who's got a good pass on him, somebody who can fizz the ball into the wing back or play the ball into the midfield. He's definitely got incisive passing on him. Like, because in theory, I look at the rest of the team and I don't see none of them rarely putting the ball into midfield. But when Heaven's there, he's looking for a central midfielder to play the ball into. He's looking for a number 10 to put the ball into. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy actually gets it. So yeah, that's a good shout. Don't be surprised if he ends up as a central centre back, because he used to also play as a midfielder. So
Mhm.
he understands the roles in a way that maybe others don't. So that is actually a good shout. I like that take, and I think I might have to do a bit more research into how this could work, because I don't want to be surprised if the manager decides that he wants him to be a central centre back.
Well, you see, the thing is about him, he comfortable on both sides. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've noticed from seeing him play. And when I watch him play, some of his biggest moments happen in the center of the defense. Some of the biggest tackles he's made, the biggest clearances, the biggest challenges he's made, he's always been near now, dead center, either on the left side or just off the right side. So from that, I just find like I just seeing this guy popping up really big in the center, at
Yeah,
the
because
parking moments.
his reading
So
of the game is good too.
exactly.
And
And
for
so I
central
just say
back,
to
that's what you need.
myself, I was just thinking about it like I tell you, bro, watching over the season. Yeah. And as I watch some games, something pop in my head, and I just couldn't help but keep thinking about that. And as we talking, he asked that question, and that's the first thing that come to mind. I remember I was thinking that the other day. Fred asking a brilliant question. I'll post it to everyone on the panel and the chat. In my opinion, if this was to happen, if he remains at the club, I think is probably nailed on. He will have a better performance next season because then you have the likes of Victor Gyokeres to teach him things. That a player who training next year could teach you faster than a coach. And Gyokeres knows what the manager wants, and when you see it, you could learn it. It's be a easier situation to see it happen and just replicate it and then find your way and swim. I think it would definitely be an improvement. I don't know how much. I don't know how much because I don't want to come here and say, bro, he's going to be amazing. But if he is, Man United wins. You know what I mean? I don't know what
Exactly.
you guys think, but you guys in the chat, please comment, drop a comment, drop your thoughts on right to left, and
The
hear what
thing
you
is,
guys think on this.
with the limited games, right? Obviously, we're gonna be down to one game a week on a regular basis. And depending on how we perform, it might be for the foreseeable future, God forbid. However, right, we've got two developing strikers there. we're set to bring in a senior striker, which we should have had in the first place. But
Mhm.
then we've got two developing strikers there. So who do you develop? Knowing that we've only got one game a week, one of there isn't so many games to go around, really, in theory, especially if you're playing once a week. So the minutes ain't gonna be plentiful for somebody who's a fixture on the bench. So, in my humble opinion, if it's up to me, I've seen more in Xerxes in terms of the potential that he's shown especially since he's taken off all that bulk on his body, started to move around the pitch a bit quicker. Obviously, we like his link up play. We like what he brings to the table. The only thing, in my humble opinion, that he's lacking is the goals. And with the type of service that the people behind him can create and bring, especially with the through balls or the crosses coming into the box, if we could develop his finishing, I see a little bit more in there to develop than developing Rasmus. But that's just my personal opinion. So wouldn't it not make sense if Rasmus went out on loan, so we could develop Xerxes a bit more?
I mean, I hear that, but I don't see Xerxes as a striker. I see Xerxes as the backup to Cunha or a potential partner for Cunha in some games, depending on the situation. You know, that's where I see Xerxes being at his best. Because in my honest opinion, like I said to him many times when we chat, bro, is that for some reason in the last 7 games before he was injured, I cannot tell you the difference between his performance and Cunha's for both teams in the same position. They're almost like the identical player, like the mirror of each other in sort of a way. Only Cunha is a better with the shot at goal, but Xerxes is not that striker of the ball get you a goal. He will create a goal more than he will get you a goal. So yeah, I don't really see him in that role, and I would say if we had to develop between one of Chido or Hoyland if he remains at the club, I would say Hoyland because I think Chido needs a little bit more time to grow. He shouldn't be pressured. He should be enjoying life and dominating and growing naturally and not being forced to adapt right now. I think it's better for his development. I could be wrong. But then again, if Hoyland goes on loan, there are rumors that Real Madrid is interested on taking him on loan. Xavi Alonso has requested that if the opportunity arises, Inter is interested, and there's Napoli. So that's me. What are your thoughts, Ray?
Well, for me, I think Cheeto's got a longer development time, so I would take my time with Cheeto too because he's only 17, so he can basically go back into the under and grow a little bit more. And by the time he's ready, he's still only 21, 22, and he might be right there ready to go knock on the door. So I would focus if Rasmus stays and try and develop him along with Gyokeres, sorry. And Zerks, on Zerks, I see him more where Cunha is because he plays people in, and that's where it was his best performances at United when Amman kind of figured it out where he put Zerks just behind Hojlund, and the ball was actually going to Zerks first because he's got a better control, he's more stronger, and he was actually bullying defenders and putting them on the back when he was with his dribbling skills. And I thought, wow, this is a player because he was beating two guys. One guy was going the other way, and he's going the other way, and he's finding the pass. And that is where I think Zirk's best performances should be. If he's going to, not really up front, because when you put him as a striker, he tends to not have the same movements, and he's kind of robotic and very static. So I reckon, if we were going to develop
Yeah.
strikers, I would develop Rasmus more, all because he's 22 and he's been in this situation before, and I will give Cheeto the development time that he really, really needs. because he's only 17. So he's got 4 or 5 years of proper, building up. And then, you can always call him, you can always have a look at him at 21, 22 and say, hang, okay, let's see what you are. Put him in there. But that's just me.
He might even be ready before 20, because
Well, you never
2
know.
years in the youth team, training with the first team, you never know.
You
You
never
know what
know.
I mean?
He could
But I
be
will
a
give him
killer
that
by
plan.
19. He could be a certified killer by 19.
Could be.
Exactly. Could be. But I'll give him that
Elite.
development plan. I wouldn't just throw him in there, FA Cup match where you probably need to win it. And Cheeto is, you know, our hope. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No.
I think that was a
Listen,
little bit harsh on him. But yeah,
listen.
Elite, what are your thoughts, sir?
There's 2 or 3 reasons why I would get rid of Hojlund. Okay, so the first would be considering how big he is. He's not strong enough. He falls to the ground too much. Yeah.
Mm.
Second would be I don't think his first touch is good enough to hold the ball up and bring others into play. I would bring Gyokeres in. I would sell Hojlund, and I would keep Obi under the tutelage of Gyokeres, who just scored 50 goals. You got the perfect person to learn from.
Who's that?
Hojlund,
Who
he
you
cost too
pushing,
much money,
promoting?
and it's not his fault. It's not his fault that he cost 70 mil. I'm not blaming him, but at the end of the day, if we can get some money back, we need to do it, bro.
Oh, you're promoting Cheeto.
Huh?
You're promoting Cheeto, you say?
No. I'm just saying what we do is we bring in Gyokeres. He's the main striker. He scored 50 goals. He's confident. And then you got Obi there learning from him as a sub. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well, yeah,
think, and Xerxes
I
stays
mean,
as well. Hojlund needs to go, I think.
I mean, I mean, it's fair enough to say that, yeah, he had a terrible season this season. My only argument for him staying is that in his worst season, he still had the same amount of goals as a player. Lots of players want to sell him to spend 40 million for Delap. And Delap might have 12 in the league, but Hoyland
But
scored that
the
last
fans
season and we call it
never,
a rubbish season.
most of the fans never called for the lap. It was the club that was calling for the lap. It was Jason Wilcox that had a relationship with the lap when he was at City that wanted to bring the lap in. Most of us wanted a senior striker. In fact,
Well,
the overwhelming majority of the fan base said they wanted a Osimhen or a Gyokeres. These are the 2 names that kept on coming up. We did not want another learner driver striker. We
Fact.
didn't want it.
Facts.
That's why
Facts.
I was shocked when they said the lap, because I'm thinking, wait, isn't this the same situation you're already in? That you're already going
Like
to be in.
people have PTSD from seeing certain things from last season, and unfortunately, I can't unsee what I saw last season. So, in my humble opinion, we need certified gunmen up front, or else I'm just
Bro,
gonna be disgruntled for another
yeah,
season of not
facts.
scoring goals at Old Trafford. Yeah, struggling. Yeah. I don't want to do that no more. I want to put teams to the sword, and I want us to do a match preview, and then we're like, oh, how many goals do you think we're gonna score? And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be 5-0. Like I
Mm.
want to be able to say that with chest. Yeah, I can't even say that we're gonna beat Nottingham Forest with chest. I can't say we're gonna beat Brighton with chest. I can't say that we're gonna beat anyone with chest. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Where
100%.
I'm even predicting a win, but low key, I think we're gonna lose or draw.
Bro,
Mm.
it had some moments like that for me, for real. But you know me, bro. When I believe in I will believe die hard that we will win somehow, some stroke.
Well, to
And
be honest with you guys, we had the chances to do this, but we never took them. I mean, how many times have we been in the game, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the game, chance after chance after chance after chance, miss. Then we do something silly in the defense. Then we end up losing 1-0. This is
2-0,
why I'm more
2-1.
this is why I'm more, with the signings I'm hearing, is a little bit more confident, because I know that if he's falling to a Gyokeres, he's going to take it. If he's falling to Mbwemo, he's going to take it. If he's falling to Cunha, he's going to take it.
Yeah.
So this is what's making me a bit more excited than watching Ganacho shoot 5 times and oh, he's missed it, or somebody else shoots, oh, he's missed it, and then we end up
No, but
losing the game.
But you see, the thing is with that too, yeah. A lot of that too is I would say 30% of that is the fact of, we changed system. Because up to this day, bro, we never had a game where we matched the amount of we matched the most amount of chances we created in a game in the first 6 weeks of the season. There's no game that we created as much chances other than maybe one game in Europa League, I think, or something like that. But other than that, we had so much chances, yeah, in one game in the first 6 games of the season that we didn't score. We never created as many chances as that in one game again for the whole season. It's amazing, yeah. So it's one of those things where I look at it from a perspective that when you look at developing players, having three players in attack developing, Ahmad, Garnacho, and Hojlund starting,
Bad idea.
is a terrible idea. You could
Bad
only
idea.
blame the club and blame the manager, the fact that these guys started so many games together. And I'm
Mm.
not saying that they are bad players because, one will always suffer the most, but the other two, all three should really be progressing, but you don't have someone that directing the three of them. And as a winger, or as a wide 10, or a right wing, or a wing back, you're supposed to create for the team first. If there's no option to create, then you take it on your own. But our wingers take it on their own. One gets in position to shoot and score and throw away. And one, if he don't get in a position to shoot, he lose the ball. Now, then there's look to pass. Sometimes the passes ain't really good. The quality of the pass is shot. But at the same time, it's something that these players have talent, they have quality, they have ability, but they need some direction. And they didn't really have that this season. Yeah. And in all fairness, we can't just blame all the players and say they shit. We had to blame the manager. We had to blame the men above them because they didn't correct none of these things. You understand? And we didn't take it away from other managers past previously for not changing or adapting or making a change or trying to adjust. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's still lots of improvement to be had, especially with the quality of signings that we're looking to make and the amount of signings that we're looking to possibly make. And I think when all this come together at the end of the window, if we do make these three signings and others, we could all be looking forward to a more positive ideology for next season. I think that will be across the board. But like Bali Tech, I would say to everyone, I'm waiting to see all what we do this summer before I have my full feeling on what we're going to achieve next season.
Exactly.
Because for one, I'm disappointed in having one game a week. That is not Man United-esque. It doesn't even remotely align with the heritage of our football club. It's not in our DNA to compete for one league, or whether it's the Premier League or the Champions League. Man United DNA does not tolerate sacrificing a cup to win our next cup. It don't tolerate that. It never did. And of course, there are bigger cups. And of course, the league is the bread and butter. But the mere fact that you have to give up three to get one, yeah, that is not Man United, guys. I don't know what you guys think, but my final words on this is that we are Man United and we have pull and we have all these great heritage. And this is because we always want it all. We want everything every season. We don't just want the Prem. We don't just want the European titles. We want everything every season. Every time we go on that pitch, we want to win. Don't care if it's Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Europa, Champions League, Premier League, we want it all. And that's the only thing I could think about it. And when I look at Man United and I think of Man United, that's all I want to see and hear, bro. You know what I mean? And guys, I will say this again. If you all have time tomorrow, please be here because this week has been a long time since I've been streaming every single day of each week. Hadn't had the time before, but I'm back again And I've got all my buddies there. Ray's here. Elite Baller is back. Bali Tech is here. So, guys, have no fear. Maybe Fred the Red might make an appearance sometime soon as well. Big up to Sadiq Rahman. He says he likes Turkey. Guys, any last thoughts? Because tomorrow, I'm betting on we are having some bombers and we are going to be cheering a lot and talking about some nice things tomorrow. I have that feeling.
All right.
But my last, sorry.
All right. My last thought, right, was to basically ask a question in terms of if there's two main improvements that you want to see for next season, what would they be?
More one touch plays because I want to see the team have a rhythm. I don't know about anybody else, but I want to see a rhythm. And when I say a rhythm, I don't need it to be always fast. But I want it to be at our control. Sometimes we take the pace high, sometimes we take it in between, sometimes we slow it down, sometimes we take the pace back up again. Because this is how we used to play. This is how we used to play and win titles for years and years and years. We used to play at our own pace and change pace during games. I would like to see that come back into this team. And I think a senior striker like with the elk of Gyokeres or Osimhen type will bring at least 15, 20 more goals to this team and will also bring a confidence to the team that, hey, we have our goal when we start this game. It will come.
I don't know if that was two. That sounded like 100, but
Yeah. It's two, but it sound like 100. I know what you mean. But
what
yeah.
about you, Ray? What about you, Ray? What's the two improvements that you want to
Two
see?
improvements, goals. That's what number one improvement. I don't want to be sat there bored up with Scotland when it's going on goals and we're losing at one nil because I've almost wanted to throw the freaking television out the window half of the time. As I said, I ripped up my season tickets because I was sick and tired of seeing us not score. So that's number one. And two, no more backward passing to the bloody keeper all the time. Let's play forward risk pass though. United are known for because some of the times, like Diallo, I see him got the not Diallo, Diallo. Brother got the ball and instead of crossing it in the box, he's passing it back. And he goes back to midfield and he goes back to the keeper. And I'm like, nah, don't want to see that. So those are the two things you must improve. Goal scoring and get the ball forward when you can.
Okay. What about you, Elite Baller?
So listen, if we do get what we're predicted to get, which is, a whole front three, yeah, I don't think we can sort of say to Amarim, you got everything you need now, yeah. So I don't want to see him do stupid things like take 70, 80 minutes to make a sub when we're losing. I don't want to see that anymore. I want him to make brave decisions like Sir Alex used to do, yeah. Throw on a kid, yeah. Just do something. Try something different. I don't want to see really late subs anymore. That just depresses me because it's like, do you actually want to win this game? So that's what I want to see from him. I want to see more braveness, take more risks, be more attacking, because you now will have a front three that rivals most in the Premier League.
Yeah.
The forfeit is coming, KG. Don't stress. The forfeit is coming. The forfeit is coming. Don't worry. I have a surprise for you guys. We'll talk about that. Bali, final thoughts.
Yeah, my final thoughts is I just want to see speed in our attack in terms of our passing. I think we pass the ball around slow and methodical. I want to see pat, 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 pat go. That's what I want to see. I want to see the opposition at sixes and sevens because we didn't give them no time to settle in and to think about where their positions is. I want us to just pass them to death and score. Um, yeah, and in terms of the second one, I want goals. I want it to be raining goals, not raining men, but raining goals. Yeah, just raining goals, raining. Yeah. So I just like I want us to return back to the day when we used to score a lot of goals. For whatever reason, it's become like an art that's literally dying before our eyes, week in, week out. We're not scoring any goals. It's just become the norm. This is why we've had to buy people that actually put the ball in the back of the net. We're literally bringing like 80 odd GA to the club in the summer. Yeah, so yeah, I just want them to at least get 60, 70 GA between them. And I would be very happy with that. I can't lie to you. I'll be happy if that front three gets 60 to
Bro,
70
you know,
GA.
last season I thought you was going to score 100 plus goals.
Exactly,
Yeah,
bro. No more
I made that
minus
prediction because
goal
I
difference.
thought that there, but whew, did Amarim and this team prove me wrong this season? But anyways, I definitely think that with those front three signings, like you say, we are adding a lot of goals to the team with those players. I think we definitely gonna one game a week. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some big scorelines from United next season, you know, when we sign this front three and they come in and they all get into that chemistry of playing together and they will be well rested. I think there's a United team that we will be a little bit shocked to see, to be honest. This
Exactly,
be
because
my
I don't
real
want to
honest
look at the
saying,
table.
because at one game a week, I don't think we have seen such an energetic team all season for years. And one game a week, I don't think everybody understand how that could really be a positive impact. As much as it might not be to the DNA of the club, and we might hurt to not be in the Europe. One game a week with all that rest, Bruno Fernandes could have 50, 60 GA next season by himself.
Exactly,
Because he
boys,
I,
because
damn
I
near
don't
had
want to.
I
40, he damn near
remember
had 40 this
Yeah,
season.
because
I
boys,
So
remember the Chelsea under Antonio Conte that only had one game a week. The side that had Victor Moses as a right wing back, and he was doing a madness that season. And I remember they won the title that season. I'm not saying we're going to win the title, but I want us to look like we could win a title in maybe a season or two. And that's really all we can hope for, to look like we have the potential to win a title, as opposed to look like we're nowhere near it, like we have done for many seasons. I want to look like we could potentially win a title.
exactly, because I'm
100.
sick and tired of looking at the table and seeing negative goal difference. No, no
Yeah,
more of that. I'm sick of it, man.
brother.
I've seen it.
I
I've seen
sick
that
of
for
that
three
too.
years now, and I'm looking at that. Yo, no more negative goal difference, bro. Plus goal difference. I want to see 60 to 70 goals, and let's see where we're going. That's what I want to see.
100%. Big up to everyone tuning in. Big up to KG and the Reckless delegates that are watching in the background. Big up to each and every one of you. I hope you guys smash the like. Don't forget to share it around. It really helps the channel grow. The aim is to get to 2,500 subscribers in the next couple weeks. Guys, only you can help us out to get there. And I'm looking forward to that. Big up to the boys in the panel. Hope to see
Big
you
up.
guys tomorrow. And guys, stay fresh, stay clean, and you know how it is. Man United will be on the scene. And no one got pulled like Man United. They're gonna keep talking. Let them keep talking. They want to say all kind of things about us right now. Of course, I'm getting bantered every day because they're Liverpool fans and Bayern Munich fans all around me. But at the same time, I don't care because sometimes it is what it is. But next year, I will have no fear, especially with the likes of these signings to come in. Hopefully, we get that front three that we're imagining right now. And getting that, guys, hey, I think next summer we're going to be the ones talking all about the town. I mean, we are the talk of the town, but it's going to be about Man United and what they achieved next season. Big up to everyone watching. Have a great night. Been your boy Marken, Bally Tech, Ray Carl Brown in the building, and of course, Elite Baller.
Big up.